There's a moment that I hear about over and over again from high functioning adults who are deep in this work. It's not the moment of burnout. It's not the breakdown. It's quieter than that. It's the moment you see your child do something, lose it, shut down, explode, go silent, and you feel that sick, sinking recognition. That's me. That's what I do. I taught them that. If you've had that moment, this episode is for you. And I need you to hear this before we go one step further. That recognition is not proof that you failed them. It's proof that you are awake enough to change it. Welcome back to The Regulated Life. I'm Erica Carter Folk, and today we're going deep. We're talking about generational regulation. We're talking about what actually gets passed down, not just the eye color or the nose shape, but the nervous system patterns, the coping strategies, the unspoken rules about what emotions are safe and which ones have to be hidden. We're talking about the red zone cycle, and we're talking about how you can be the one who breaks it. This is not a parenting podcast, but this episode is for everyone who has ever parented, been parented, or loved someone who came from a nervous system that was struggling. So, pretty much all of us. Grab something warm. Let's go. I want to start with the premise that might sit uncomfortably for a moment, and I'm asking you to stay with it. High-functioning adults are often the most at risk for unconsciously passing dysregulation to their children. Not because they don't love their kids, but because they're so good at masking. They hold it together at work. They perform competence beautifully. They look from the outside like someone who has it handled. But the nervous system, their nervous system, is running a very different program underneath. And that program doesn't get left at the office. It comes home. It sits at the dinner table. It is present in the quality of the silence after the hard day. And here's the thing about children. They're not listening to your words. They're downloading your state. This is not a metaphor. This is neurobiology. Let me walk you through what's actually happening. Dr. Stephen Porges, the architect of polyvagal theory, gave us the concept of neuroception. This is the nervous system's below-conscious process of scanning for safety or threat. It's happening in you right now as you listen to this. It's happening in your kids. And critically, it is highly attuned to other nervous systems. We're social mammals. We co-regulate by design. This is not weakness. This is evolutionary intelligence. Our nervous systems were built to borrow safety from each other. And children's nervous systems, because they're still developing, are especially dependent on borrowing regulation from the safe adults around them. Dr. John Cacioppo's research on social connection showed us just how profoundly the relational nervous system affects our baseline physiology, our immune function, our cardiovascular health, our capacity for emotional resilience. Connection is not a luxury for human beings. It's a biological necessity. And for children, felt safety with a regulated caregiver is the foundation of every capacity they will build. Now, here's where it gets tender. When we talk about high-functioning adults, we're often talking about people who learned early that certain emotions were dangerous, that vulnerability was a liability, that staying in control was survival. Dr. James Penham-Baker's research on emotional suppression showed us that hiding emotion doesn't make it disappear. It drives it underground, where it continues to generate a physiological stress response. The nervous system is still activated. The body is still in the red zone, but the face has learned to look calm. And children, because they're wired to co-regulate, pick up the signal the face is hiding. They feel what you're not saying. And when they can't make sense of it, their nervous system fills the gaps, usually with something is wrong, and it might be me. So how does this become a cycle? Let me paint the picture. A child grows up in a home where the emotional climate is unpredictable, not necessarily abusive, not even necessarily unkind, but dysregulated. The parent is chronically stressed, emotionally unavailable, reactive, or simply never present enough to offer consistent co-regulation. The child's nervous system learns to adapt. It develops strategies: fight, flight, freeze, fawn. And these strategies are not problems. They are brilliant solutions to an impossible situation. They're how that child survived. But here's what happens: those strategies become wired in, and they follow that child into adulthood, into relationships, into their own home, into their own parenting. The child who learned to fawn to keep the peace becomes the adult who cannot tolerate conflict, or who overfunctions in every relationship, who teaches their own children, by example, that the way to stay safe is to make yourself endlessly agreeable. The child who learned to fight, who developed a hair trigger sympathetic response, becomes the adult who runs hot under pressure and then watches their child mirror that intensity right back at them. The child who learned to freeze, to go numb and disappear, becomes the adult who checks out when overwhelmed and wonders why their kids act out when things are calm. This is the red zone cycle, and it does not make you a bad parent. It makes you a human being who was doing the best they could with the nervous system you were handed. But now, you have something your parents probably didn't. You have the science, you have the language, you have the awareness. And awareness is where the cycle breaks. Let me give you something concrete, because this is the regulated life. We don't just name the wound, we resource the healing. Here are 3 somatic practices specifically designed for the moments before, during, and after the hard parenting moments. Practice 1, the threshold regulation. This is for the transition home, the moment between your external world and your family's nervous system field. Before you walk in, sit in your car or stand outside your door. Place one hand on your sternum. Take 3 breaths where the exhale is significantly longer than the inhale. Count to 4 on the inhale, count to 7 or 8 on the exhale. The extended exhale activates the vagus nerve and begins shifting you from sympathetic activation toward ventral vagal, toward the state of safety. You are literally changing your signal before you broadcast it. Practice 2, the somatic pause. This is for the moment inside a conflict or a difficult parenting moment, when you feel the activation rising and you know you're about to respond from your red zone. The practice is simple and it takes about 10 seconds. Feel your feet on the floor. Press them down. Feel your sit bones if you're seated. Take 1 slow breath. And as you exhale, consciously drop your shoulders. You're interrupting the threat response. You're giving your prefrontal cortex a chance to come back online. You are changing what your child's nervous system receives in that moment. Practice 3, the repair. This is one of the most powerful things you can offer and one of the most underrated. When you have a moment of dysregulation in front of your child, when you snap, when you shut down, when you say the thing you wish you hadn't, come back. When you're regulated again, come back and name it. I got activated earlier and I didn't handle that the way I wanted to. That wasn't about you, and I want you to know we can always repair. Repair is not weakness. It is one of the most profound lessons you can teach, that relationships are survivable, that rupture doesn't mean abandonment, that humans can hurt each other and still come back. That is a nervous system learning safety in real time. Here's what I want to leave you with today. Your healing, this work that you're doing right now by listening to this, is not selfish. It's not indulgent. It is not a side project. It's the most generous thing you can offer the people you love. Every pattern you're interrupting yourself is a pattern that does not get handed down. Every moment of repair you offer is a moment of safety coded into someone's developing nervous system. Every time you regulate before you walk through that door, you're changing the inheritance. If today's episode stirred something in you, if you found yourself recognizing your own wiring in those archetypes, I want to invite you to take the next step. The Relational Nervous System Quiz is free. It takes 5 minutes and it'll show your primary nervous system pattern in your closest relationships. The link is in the show notes. And if you're ready to go deeper, the Stop the Spiral workshop is a 60-minute live somatic experience for $37. It's the most direct pathway I know to understanding your nervous system and starting to change your default. The link is also in the show notes. Next week, we're going to talk about something that almost no one is naming, and I promise you're going to feel very seen. Until then, regulate first, everything else follows. I'll see you tomorrow for our raw regulation.